What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Macro Perspective Micro Bite. Um, today, today I got a good one for you. Today I got something that's been on the mind, and it came as a result of my inability to stick to my own goal, which is a common theme. I feel that a lot of people kind of get into, and essentially, I'm doing little audits on myself when it comes to my book goals, and I realize February is a quick month, and it's really easy to feel overwhelmed about um, hitting a certain number of books in a 1 year period. And again, this goal is not something that's fitness related or even nutrition related. It's more so about just trying to broaden my scope of understanding and have more novel ways to articulate things that are being constantly talked about with people I'm working with, whether it's a patient or a client. And ultimately, what I found is certain authors do a great job of articulating a very concise message in little to no time. Literally had a book arrive on my doorstep by 8 p.m. from Amazon, and I finished it by basically 8 a.m. the next morning. And again, that was just me dedicating more or less an hour and a half of my time to actually go and read said book. And of course, I kind of hack that. I read simultaneously to listening. I find that that helps with my retention. It helps with me being able to actually stay focused. I pick a speed that my mind likes to read at. And for anybody that is considering utilizing that tactic, maybe the total cost of the book ends up being what the original hardcover might have been, but it's totally worth it because sometimes it's the author articulating it, and they are literally, they're doing something that's a little uncomfortable for them, reading at a pace that is probably not that fast so that it can be sped up to other people's tempo. And I also just, sometimes you hear people's voice in a podcast like so, and you like hearing it in the book. It's like you feel more connected to the book because it's from the mouth of the writer. And I think it's a very unique thing. It's something that can't happen, unless we had technology. And it's been my hack for this year, and really kind of ending of last year, to help with understanding and information a little bit better. And that's just the type of learner I am. I'm visual auditory like combination, and those two things again help me keep me centered and focused. And again, it's a kind of a great way to decompress at the end of the day. So in doing that quick read, I found that in the book that Stephen Pressfield wrote, Turning Pro, it's basically, to sum it up, it's the amateur tweets and the pro works. That's it, right? It's showing up every day. It's doing the little steps. It's doing the little basics, and being able to kind of just put your head down when no one else is looking, and trying to commit to that thing that is most important to you. No different than my book goal. No one else told me to it. It's just me, right? And what I found was, while that while that is, a couple of the people's reviews about like, here's the book in a nutshell, there was a lot of other little, dog-eared pages on the book for myself, and even a passage I made my wife read, and that passage was again kind of profound because it literally it literally did a good job of just kind of summing up where we're at in life, right? And it has to deal with the tribe. And basically, he had said the tribe doesn't give a shit, right? And the tribe that we're working in, and again, whatever community you might be a part of, might declare you as weird or crazy, and it might reject you. But the truth is, they don't really care, right? There is no tribe, and each individual is so caught up with his or her own BS that they don't have 2 seconds to worry about yours or mine, right? And, you know, to truly understand what the tribe is doing, and that the fact that they don't give a dang, it allows you to then become free. And because there is no tribe, there never was, and our lives are literally entirely up to us. And so, in titling this Amateur No More, using Turning Pro as kind of like that kind of landscape, it it was really interesting because your life really does change when you do become or consider yourself a pro. I have not considered myself a pro in much of anything up to this point because I constantly felt like I didn't know enough. I didn't know enough. I didn't know enough. But realistically, that is when you can can actually become the true pro, because you're willing to go take steps of failure to then become maybe not the most educated or the right person for that topic, but you have the knowledge to know the wiser of when your your opinion matters and when it doesn't and when you need to defer. That's the makings of a true pro. And I've been really good about that for a number of years. And while I'm still, getting my miles in, so to speak, to be able to become better at anything that I'm doing, the fact and the simple step that I've, you know, no longer identified as an amateur, or somebody that needs to work under somebody else's guys has really been a prominent thing in my life. So, you know, um, before we turn pro, our life is dominated by fear and resistance. Again, passage from the book. We live in a state of denial. We're denying the voice in our heads. We're denying our calling. We're denying who we really are, right? We're denying the simple fact that we have more to give, right? We have the ability to do these things. And it's just simply a mindset shift. Um, and realistically, there's always going to be some doubt. There's going to be some imposter syndrome. And again, that's where you may have to say, you know what? I don't know. Let me go speak about this to somebody that might have a solution to this problem. I feel as though that ends up being something that is, truly the makings of somebody turning pro and no longer being an amateur when you're able to have the ability to not try to answer something that you're not qualified to do. And I really found that, in reading this, it feels like there's so many other things that are becoming in order in my own life, and I hope in yours as well. And sometimes the makings of those steps or makings of the new version of yourself is purely a transition of the identity, and that will then change your landscape. So, um, above all else, you know, what I would say to be able to tap into your inner power, then create things that you are really, proud of, or something that other people look at and they're like, wow, that's amazing. How are you finding the time? How are you doing these things? It's just simply about doing the work and just being about it. And it's no different than this. This has been simply a passion project amongst two people. Right now, obviously, it's a solo endeavor, but this again is to strengthen the communication skills, with myself and Seamus, and with us as a group team effort towards whatever person we might have on as well, and continue to hopefully bring something to the table that people want to hear from. And it's it's really cool. And the last thing I'll touch on today is that I reached out to an individual that I haven't spoke to in a few years because I still have the iMessages from that, and realized I didn't even know this person had a kid. I think she may have mentioned it. I may have seen it somewhere. They're not really overly prominent in social media, and I felt like a schmuck as a result of that because, um, you know, I, I should keep better tabs on people that again have great personalities and that are great to be around. Right, that circle you surround yourself with is also a sign that you're no longer an amateur. It's that you're being more selective in the people you want to be around because they lift you up and they don't constantly put you down. Right, they're not they're not like kind of aimlessly wandering through the world as well. Um, they are, like the like the book kind of describes. They're not as terrified, of the failure, as we are. Right, we're all trying to find the spot here. Um, they're not finding ways to like bring you down, and call you kind of uh, call you names as a result of the things you're ambitious for, or try to poke and prod at like the things you could potentially do better at every way. So in that reach out, I mentioned a few things that were going on with me. Also asked her what's going on with her, sent her over to my website that I had a buddy of mine really mock up and crush, which I'm super have a great amount of gratitude for. And I think that the fact that other people now recognize, hey, it was like, I'm proud of you moment. I wasn't seeking that. I don't want the validation. I just want people to know, hey, um, actually the real reason for me reaching out was I think I might have a job opportunity for you in another capacity, and that's just that's I think the sign of somebody no longer viewing themselves as an amateur or not understanding their place in whatever companies they're a part of, because they can bring so much more to the table to help, groupthink in teams. So, while again, the conversation took a little bit of a tangent and a left turn, it was part of this initial effort to, become more of a pro in my areas, in all areas. And uh, yeah, I'm just saying, don't be an amateur, right? We all start as amateurs. That's us getting our feet wet. But realistically, the transition from that amateur to a pro is just, removing some of the BS from your life, removing the naysayers, removing the negative connotations around conversations that, may not be people believing in you. And again, just being relentless in your efforts to, again, move forward in all the areas that you think should be coming to light. So don't be an amateur, right? Don't be staying on those things that are just absorbing your time and constantly just feeding into the void. Instead, focus on just doing some of the work, right? Doing the things that help you want to move up in life, right? And as much as things may not directly impact yourself financially, or you may not stand to gain from it, the simple act of doing that passion or that hobby is what will allow you to turn into a pro. So, with that, hopefully, hopefully that resonates with you. If you're looking for a great read and a quick one, Turning Pro, Stephen Pressfield. I grabbed a few of his books, and I like them because they're short, sweet, to the point. And yeah, if there's anything else that resonates with you, please feel free to comment. Give me some feedback. I would love to hear about it, and hopefully, this could be the step of you moving from the amateur role into a professional role